Hare Krishna, thank you for joining us tonight. You can now all turn and face the seat, and we'll have tonight's talk, which will go on until about 7. And tonight's talk will be given by Govardhana Dasa Brahmachari, whom almost all of you know. But Govardhana's been practicing Krishna consciousness for several years, and this is his 5th year serving Krishna in the temple here as a Brahmachari monk. And he will continue with this month's theme on speaking on gratitude. So that's his plan. He'll speak on appreciation in Krishna consciousness.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yasodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Jaya Radha
Thank you, Ramapati Prabhu. Thank you for joining the Sunday feast this evening. I humbly ask to get the blessing of the senior devotees for allowing me to say something meaningful, something nice. My realizations are not very deep, and I'm not a very good speaker. So please bless me that I can say something. Om Jnana Timarandasya Jnana Janashalakaya Chakshuran Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in darkness of ignorance, but my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch light of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisances unto him and all members of Shri Parampara. So the theme of this month is gratitude and appreciation for Krishna consciousness. When we hear this word, gratitude, what are some of the things that come to mind? Can someone pass the mic to Chatura Mataji?
Just had one word. Gratitude is the attitude.
Okay. I'll repeat what she said. Gratitude is the attitude. And what are some things that most people are grateful in this world? Health, family, wealth, joy. What was that? Shelter. Okay. It says, if you don't show appreciation to those who deserve it, they'll learn to stop doing the things you appreciate. And it's it's a wonderful standard. When we see something that a person does, whether it's unknowingly or knowingly, it's good just to thank them, It's not that the devotees are seeking some appreciation, but it's nice to hear that sometimes. So it says that a person's character is tested under different circumstances. And when one observed Srila Prabhupada's life, it was full of challenges. For example, friends are tested during adversity. A hero is tested on the battlefield. A wife, oh no, here he goes. A wife is tested in times of poverty. And family is tested in times of distress. And I'm sure within our lifetime, we can remember a friend or a group of friends that we consider to be BFFs at one point, And then when reversals come in one's life, they start slowly disappearing. One of my friends, he would say, friends come and go, so keep the line moving. So friendship is very hard to find, true friendship. And a hero is tested in war. Arjuna, in the Bhagavad Gita, he was telling Krishna so many arguments why he shouldn't fight, And Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he said something very interesting. He said, people always speak of your infamy, and for a respectable person, dishonor is worse than death. For a soldier or a warrior, that's their duty, is to protect the innocent, those that cannot protect themselves. But a hero who runs away from the battlefield is known as a coward. Most of the leaders of today in our army or whatever, they hide behind the army. They hide behind their armies. But in Vedic culture, they were in the front lines, And it's described that a hero, he has certain qualifications or qualities, like power, determination, resourcefulness, courage in battle, generosity, and leadership are the natural qualities of work for the Kshatriyas, or the warriors. But you don't see that much in today's times. People are, you know, it's a very mundane analogy, but there's a movie, and they were supposed to fight, knuckle, fist fight, and one of them brought a gun, and then someone said, put that away, With these, your fists, you lose, but then you live to see another day, But with all of this warfare and violence, it's very nonsense. It's nonsensical. And a wife is tested. I'm not going to go through all of this, but a wife is tested in times of poverty. I was speaking to someone, and we're discussing these television shows, And one of the silliest things is when people try to find love on television, Or more artificially, when people try to meet someone, they expect a lasting relationship in bars and clubs, They're looking for someone else, and, they say blame it on the alcohol. You might look like Lord Ram to them, right? And then for the man, she looks just like Sita. Right? But when the alcohol wears off, there's a problem. Now there's this, what is called a prenup, or a how do you pronounce it? Prenuptial agreement. So this is let me read it. It says a prenuptial agreement is a legal contract between two people who are planning to get married. It outlines how assets, debts, and spousal support will be divided in the event of divorce and death. I'm sorry, As a brahmachari, practicing brahmachari life, I can see the difficulties in relationships today. It's very difficult to trust one another. The man thinks like a man now, and then the man thinks like a woman. And although we're not the body, the mentality is there. And instead of the woman being chaste, very faithful, she wants to have multiple partners. And in this way, she degrades herself. Srila Prabhupada, he would say that this civilization, it supports prostitution. And what is prostitution? A woman that's not married, but she has so many different relationships. Anyway, when a man's finances are low, there's a disturbance in the relationship. That's why most relationships in Kali Yuga are very superficial. And the divorce rate is increasing. And families tested in difficulties, right? That's why there's so many a large amount of broken families now. Okay, so I had to say that. So gratitude is a state of mind, Sometimes we forget to be grateful for the little things in life, like air, the sunshine, friendship. In the Nectar of Devotion by Srila Rupa Goswami, he describes what this word grateful means. He says, a person who is conscious of his friend's beneficent activities and never forgets his service is called grateful. So there's two parts. One is that we should be conscious of a person's good act towards us, or it's known as awareness. But that's not enough. We must also not forget it. Never forget their service. Anyone who has taught us to read, anyone who has taught us to look both ways. That's why the mother and the father, they're known as Adi Gurus. Adi means beginning or first, and Guru means teacher. Because they impart knowledge to the little ones, to look both ways before they cross the street. In the Mahabharata, one of our scriptures, it says that Yudhishthira Maharaj was asked certain questions. And he was asked, who is higher than the sky? And Yudhishthira Maharaj said, the mother. And then this question was asked, who is heavier than the earth? And he replied, Father is heavier than the earth. So we should show gratitude to our parents. One who has taught us how to play musical instruments. One who has taught us how to read. One who has taught us different colors in the rainbow. So many things. So we should acknowledge this and never forget their service. I remember when I first started coming to the temple, I took everyone's instructions to the heart. You know, Dharma Setu Prabhu, he said, we're near the finish line in our Krishna consciousness. We just need to sprint, you know. So we shouldn't take this life very lightly. We should take it very seriously, and to strive for something that's meaningful, you know, like advancing in Krishna consciousness. And when someone does good to us, we become aware of it, and we should be always conscious of this act. I remember my cousin in the Philippines. She's the one that introduced me to Krishna consciousness. You know, I can never repay her. I was just like everybody else, wandering in this material world, looking for silly things to enjoy, you know, money, this, that. And then she saw how foolish I was, and she actually reached out to me. And I was very, very impressed by how she answered my questions. See, when a person searches out for an answer, they want to hear something that's, you can say, benefits everybody. Not just for the person speaking, but for everybody. And I was asking questions like, what is death? What happens at the time of death? What is the meaning of life? Why are we here? Krishna says there's 4 types of people that come to him. Can anyone remember any of these 4?
Those who are in trouble, arta. Those who are in search of money, like Dhruva, artati. Artati. Jigyasu, those who are curious about ultimate questions like you just described. And those who actually have some knowledge and want to increase it. There are, 4 types.
So these 4 people come to Krishna. And Krishna describes these people are very pious also. You know, when people come before the deities, I don't want to put this Prabhu on the spotlight, but what are on their mind, you know? What are they praying for? Are they praying for their health? Are they praying for their children's education? Are they praying for the welfare of others? Or are they asking Krishna for something spiritual? And Krishna fulfills his desires. Even if they're not our best interest, Krishna will gladly fulfill them. But sometimes he doesn't, because like a mother, when the child wants to play with fire on the stove, the mother will not allow this. Even if the child cries and cries and cries, the mother knows what's best for the child. So Krishna knows what's in our heart, and sometimes he takes away things that we're very attached to. And Srila Prabhupada, like I mentioned before, he was tested in different difficult situations. And it was Srila Prabhupada's conviction and dependence on Krishna that made him overcome these difficulties. Old age, for example. You know, they said there's certain things you should never ask a woman, and one of them is age, you know. So I'll pick on the Prabhu. How old are you, Prabhu? The one in black. 64. Now this age, 64, most people try to retire at this age, isn't it? 65 is the retiring age. But Srila Prabhupada, at that age, he didn't retire. He wanted to cross the ocean to come to the U.S. Despite his old age, and his health was also not very good. his association, he had no association. One time he said, I created this Hare Krishna movement just to give myself association, you know. Who else would understand him? And his finances, you know. He basically had no money. There's a book called Swami in a Strange Land, and that's what he was doing. And so Srila Prabhupada had a very humble beginnings when establishing the Hare Krishna movement. And Srila Prabhupada, he took the trouble to spread this wonderful movement all over the world. I visit different places with my spiritual master. We've been to Burma or Myanmar, and there's temples there. We've been to Singapore, you know, we have a temple there. India, temple. Hawaii, Las Vegas, everywhere. So everyone can take shelter. And Srila Prabhupada, there's this book called The Science of Self-Realization. It was the first book that I read. Changed my whole life. Who am I? This question animals don't ask. They ask, where is food, where is shelter, where is my mate? That's all. Basic instincts, you know, survival. But a human being can now ask the big questions. And who am I, right? Just like in math, if you're solving an equation and if the first step is wrong, the initial step is wrong, your conclusion will always be incorrect, no matter how hard you work at it. So if a person thinks I'm this body, you know, your goals will be materialistic. But if you understand I'm not this body, but I'm the eternal soul within this body, residing in this body, then our goals become spiritual. But unfortunately, not a lot of people can understand this. You know, they associate with the person they see in the mirror. So in this book, on September 18th, 1965, Srila Prabhupada wrote this prayer. And I would like to read some of it. It's a very moving poem, actually. And you can see what was in Srila Prabhupada's heart. He said, "My dear Lord Krishna, you are so kind upon this useless soul." Srila Prabhupada is a pure devotee, but he's calling himself a useless soul. Humility. "But I do not know why you have brought me here. Now you can do whatever you like with me. But I guess you have some business here. Otherwise, why would you bring me to this terrible place?" He landed on the Boston Pier. Most people that come to America for enjoyment. Srila Prabhupada is describing this place as a terrible place. So this is the vision between a materialistic person and a pure devotee. Most of the population here is covered by the material modes of ignorance and passion. Absorbed in material life, they think themselves very happy and satisfied. And they, therefore, have no taste for the transcendental message of Vasudeva. I do not know how they will be able to understand it. How will I make them understand the message of Krishna consciousness? I am very unfortunate, unqualified, and the most fallen. Therefore, I am seeking your benediction so that I can convince them, for I am powerless to do so on my own. We should recognize our dependence. You know, we cannot live without air, but yet people foolishly think they are independent. You know, somehow or other, O Lord, you have brought me here to speak about you. Now, my Lord, it is up to you to make me a success or failure as you like. Srila Prabhupada, he just wanted to try. That was his duty, you know. I was dropping off my spiritual master back at home, and he said, if a family is burning in a house and they're just watching television, are you going to let them burn there, or are you going to try to do something? A human being will try to do something. So similarly, this world is described to be a blazing forest fire. But what type of forest fire? Repeated birth and death. People do not understand the concept of karma and reincarnation. When people hear reincarnation, they think of it as something wonderful. I met someone on book distribution, and I was explaining this, the science of reincarnation. And he said, "You mean I can be a dolphin in my next life?" You know, a dolphin. So they don't know the value of human life. Therefore, they say things like this. This is lack of knowledge on their part. O spiritual master of all the worlds, I can simply repeat your message. So if you like, you can make my power of speaking suitable for their understanding. You know, Srila Prabhupada came to the West when it was the hippie movement, you know. Drugs, free sex, you know, do whatever you like. They rebelled against authority, you know. And Srila Prabhupada came here. It's actually very, Srila Prabhupada would describe it an impossible mission. I have no devotion, nor do I have any knowledge, but have strong faith in the holy name of Krishna. I have been designated as Bhaktivedanta, and now, if you like, you can fulfill the real purport of Bhaktivedanta. Signed, the most unfortunate, insignificant beggar. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada says that the human form of life is meant for developing love of God. Srila Prabhupada, you know, there's so many wonderful books written about him. Like, more than, how much do you think, Balaram Prabhu? Dravida Prabhu, how many books? At least 50 on one person. There was this one poster. It was black and white, and it had the different big personalities, you know. The different, you know, like Stalin or Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., you know, J.F. Kennedy, all these big names. And there was a caption that says, all these people know the problems. And then in the center, there was a colored picture of Srila Prabhupada. And it said, only this man knows the solution. You know. So Srila Prabhupada came to the West with basically nothing. All odds were against him. Like, yeah, there's so many wonderful videos of Srila Prabhupada. And this love for God or Krishna, it's not artificial, nor is it foreign. This love of Krishna, this relationship, has always existed. But since we're so absorbed in this material world, we slowly forget this relationship. Srila Prabhupada would say it is in a dormant state. And the process of awakening this relationship is very simple. It's by chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Srila Prabhupada would invite everybody to come and chant. But it's only those unfortunate souls that refuse. And if someone has given us something valuable, something priceless, the best way to show our appreciation is to be grateful for them. Most people of this world do not show or express their appreciation for God. In India, most of the pious people, the first thing they would do is offer oblations to the sun, you know, because they know that they acknowledge that the sun provides them with heat and light. But now the first thing people do is get coffee. You know, we're on our way to our Friday program called Kula Yoga. It's in Chula Vista for our Krishna Lounge. And we're speaking to one young person. His name is Jonathan or John. And he said that he actually gave up alcohol. You know, that's a big thing. But he said, I'm trying to wean off coffee, you know. Someone said coffee just tastes like burnt, you know, sugar water, you know. But, yeah, how will Srila Prabhupada explain these principles to the what are they called? Hedonistic or the hippies, you know. They didn't want authority. And Srila Prabhupada is saying, give up meat eating, give up illicit sex, give up intoxication. So how will they listen? And nowadays, most people are so busy with work and school, they hardly take the time to recognize our dependence on God's mercy. You know, growing up in a Filipino household, you know, most Filipinos are Catholic, but I understood that God is the most important person in our life. But most people, they turn this relationship into something secondary. They put, you know, their job or their work or school or finances first before God. And then this leads to, you know, confusion. This leads to most people leading meaningless lives, you know, more or less. Not only that, but they, Srila Prabhupada would call struggle for existence. I was at La Jolla Cove distributing books. This is one of my main services for the temple. And I was trying to stop this, you know, who's probably middle age. And I asked him, excuse me, sir, I have a very nice book for you. I think you'll appreciate it. And then he said, no, thank you. I'm just a nobody. I'm just working to make ends meet. And you know, when you hear these statements, you can't help but feel sorry for this person. You know, that's all what their life is all about, just working and working. And next thing you know, my spiritual master would say a cough, and then you're diagnosed with cancer. And then all your assets, all of that, you lose at the time of death. So most people in life, they don't recognize this, that this life is very temporary. In India, what they do is they would cremate bodies after the death of this person. Because two things. One is that it reminds them of their own mortality, you know. And two, it's a very sobering situation, you know. Not only that, but they become a little detached at that point. But in America, the dead bodies are put underground, you know. And then they charge so much money for this. When my grandpa passed away, and I didn't know what death was, you know. I was asking my mom, why is grandpa sleeping? You know. And as a little kid, you know, you don't know the concept of death. So my mom said, oh, he's sleeping for a long time, you know. And I said, okay. I went outside and played, you know, played with my cousins. And after a few years passed by, I noticed he wasn't there in family reunions, you know. And then I asked my mom again, you know, where's grandpa? And that's when she explained to me that your grandpa is no longer here, you know. So most people in this world, they forget that there's a higher purpose in life. Not just working hard to make ends meet, but a spiritual goal. That's why a lot of people, their lives become very mechanical. They're just going through the motion, you know. Wake up, make coffee, feed your dog, walk your dog, you know. Go to work, repeat, you know. There's this one cartoon. This man, it was a stick figure cartoon, you know. But the man, he goes to bed, and then after a second later, his alarm clock goes off. He wakes up, goes out of the door. After a few moments, he comes back, and then he puts his head on the pillow, and then his alarm clock goes up, you know. So people in life, they're living just like this, you know. Not really living a more purposeful life, because it's the absence of Krishna consciousness, it's not there. So Srila Prabhupada, he describes we have two duties in this world. One is called our material duties, or swadharma. It's the different type of roles that we play in this world. You know, some people have the role as a mother. Some people have the role as a father. Some people play the roles of their children. What I love about Krishna consciousness is very sobering. It doesn't sugarcoat what this material world is. And Srila Prabhupada, he says these relationships, they're like sticks, and I'm sure you've seen it. There's like a whirlpool, and these sticks, they come together, for some time, and then after that, they disperse, never to meet again. Srila Prabhupada also explained it like this. In India, you all know the bus situation. It's very crowded in the buses, the trains. Sureshwar, you experienced that before? Yeah. So, during a bus ride, you meet different strangers, Hey, how are you? What's your name? What do you do, And then you have a little small chat. And then when it's their stop, they leave. And you may never see that person again. So similarly, the dharma or the duties that we have in this world are like that. But we take the secondary duty to be first primary. So this is swadharma, the different duties that we have in this world. And then there's our sanatan dharma. And this is our spiritual dharma, spiritual duty. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna himself, he described that the living entity's constitutional position is an eternal servant of Krishna. In the Western world, when people hear this word servant, they don't like it very much. Because servant means someone inferior. In the material world, everyone's fighting to be the boss, right? There's a nice story. Srila Prabhupada was traveling somewhere, and he met, one of the lower end businessmen. He didn't speak any English, so Srila Prabhupada asked him, what do you want to do in this life, or what are your goals in life? And he can understand this. So he took his business card from the very bottom and he put it on the top. Everyone is trying to be the kings of this world. There's a famous saying, I don't know where it's from, but it said, why be a servant in heaven when you can be a king in hell? Most people, they don't want to be servants in this world. But actually, in the spiritual world, a servant is it's the best position to have. Srila Prabhupada says the servant, he enjoys the same facilities as a king. He can travel with the king, he can dine with the king. He has, he basically lives like a king. But when the servant starts to think, why should I be the servant? I want to be the king. And then she gets in trouble. So in this world, it's the perverted reflection of the spiritual world. Everyone wants to be king or queen. Everyone wants to be the controller. Everyone wants to be the enjoyer. But in the spiritual world, they know the only enjoyer is Krishna. And by pleasing Krishna, everyone becomes happy. But in this world, most people, the nature of the soul is very kind, It's very innocent. But when it's polluted by the three modes of nature, it becomes selfish. It becomes unkind, It becomes dishonest. Okay. So another thing to be grateful for is the things that Krishna has provided. Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, he explains that we cannot see God in our current state. We're very impure, if you can say that. But we can perceive Krishna by these different ways. Krishna says, I am the taste in water. A person who's dying of thirst, once they taste that water, it's just like nectar, And that taste is Krishna. We cannot live without the sun and the moon. And Krishna says, I am the light of the sun and the moon. And everybody's proud of their own talents, right? I'm very intelligent, I'm this, I'm that. But Krishna says, I'm the ability in all beings. So actually, everything is dependent on Krishna's mercy. and He gives us knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. He says that a person's greatest emotional need is to feel appreciation. And so we'll end shortly to take some questions or comments and reflections. Srila Prabhupada, he says, those engaged in broadcasting the holy name through the Krishna consciousness movement should always consider what their position was before they came and what it is now. They had fallen into abominable lives as meat eaters, drunkards, and woman hunters, performing all kinds of sinful activities. But now they have been given the opportunity to chant the Hare Krishna mantra. You know, those that grew up in the West, we live like this, you know. No one tells you that eating meat is wrong. No one tells you that chasing women is wrong. No one tells you that smoking and drinking is wrong. Actually, they accept it to be normal. And if you don't do these things, people will not treat you nicely. I remember in school, I love reading. I like doing well in my classes. But due to association, I learned not to like doing these things. And in my high school, if you were found to go in the library, you would get beat up for that. Like, this is the society that the Western people live in, you know. If you want to be smart and intelligent, people look down on you. But if you're drunk and you're acting like a fool, people will praise you. Oh, Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada, he was going through all of this, you know. But he nevertheless, nothing discouraged him from doing that. He came to the West with great difficulties, you know. And for the devotees who understand this, they want to show their appreciation to Srila Prabhupada by giving it to others. If you are given a very valuable gift, you don't keep it to yourself. That's a miserly person. But you give it to others. So this process of Krishna consciousness, it works, you know. And Balaram Prabhu, I love this story. One of the first services that people come to get is pot washing, you know. So I was washing pots in the back one time, you know. And Balaram Prabhu, he planted the seed. He said, when are you going to move in, Bhakti Glenn? You know. And I said, I don't know, Balaram. I don't know if I can do it. And then Balaram smiled and he said, if I can do it, you can do it. So we should encourage others like that, you know. Okay. And yeah. By your mercy, Balaram Prabhu. So yeah, sometimes when we go out on book distribution, people always say this, you know. I remember you guys at the airport. Srila Prabhupada had to start with nothing, you know. And the Hare Krishna movement is actually, it's a very new movement in the West. So Srila Prabhupada had very important work to do on very short notice, you know. So, and as a grand disciple of Srila Prabhupada, I just want to show my appreciation by trying to glorify His divine grace, Srila Prabhupada. And we can also do this just by talking to people, you know. People like music, so we invite them for kirtan. People love food, we give them prasadam. People are looking for association, we give them association. You know. Okay, there's 10 minutes left. Are there any questions or comments? Yes, Bhakti.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you
Bol.
for the thought-provoking lecture. So did anything happen to the person at La Jolla Cove today? And if not, is there any other good Sankirtan stories you have?
I could write a book. No, this person, you can tell his mind was absorbed in things like that. So unfortunately, he didn't take a book. So he's just wandering here and there now, you know. But yeah, Sankirtan. For those who haven't done it, it's such a it's an adventure. You know, you never know who you'll meet. You'll meet people that look very spiritual. You know, they have their crystals. You know, they have their tattoos of the chakras. You know, but then they won't take a book. But then you'll meet someone from L.A., Los Angeles, Watts, or Compton. You know, and these people are like they would never take a book, you know. But you speak to them, and then they can see how sincere you are. You want to try to help them. And then you share the knowledge with them in the Bhagavad Gita. One time, there was a man like that with his family. And excuse me, sir. And he kind of just, you know, looked at me like, don't bother me. And I said, have you heard of anger? He came back to my table. I said, what do you know about anger, you know? And I said, anger is a very bad quality. So I was sharing him from the Bhagavad Gita. From anger, complete delusion arises. And from delusion, bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. And when intelligence is lost, one falls down again into the material pool. He marked this page. And it's, how much for the book? And I said, for you, sir, we just humbly ask for a donation. So he gave a donation, he took the books, and then he was showing his wife, look at this. Look at this verse, it describes me, you know. And I said, you can use your anger to help people. You know, we're not, everything is all good, you know, you're good, whatever you know, we make distinctions. So I was telling him that we can use our anger to protect others, you know, to fight for people that can't fight for themselves. You know, a real hero. And he said, I like that. So that's one story. You know. Anything else from someone? Yes, Nelson?
Hare Krishna, thank you for a wonderful class. I normally have trouble paying attention, but your speaking style and your words keep me engaged, so I want to express my gratitude for what you do and doing it well. What does one do if they are unsure of their Sanatan Dharma? How do they find out?
Well, there's only one Sanatan Dharma, Jivera Swarupoi Krishnera Nichadas. That the living entity's eternal Dharma is to be a servant of Krishna. So that's all of our eternal Dharma, Sanatan Dharma. But our Swadharma, it's known as the Varnashram system. Each and every one of us will have different qualities. Some people like to study, some people like to work with their hands, some people like agriculture, they like to farm, and there's people that like managing things. So these are known as the 4 ashrams, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. But these are created by Krishna, and actually when one follows their Swadharma, they become happy. Srila Prabhupada would point out a person that likes to think, but you put them in a position where they're just working with their hands, they're not very happy. They need to be challenged intellectually, you know. But if someone who is, you know, very simple, when they're given a position to make important decisions, they're not gonna be so happy, you know. And in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna will describe, you know, what are the qualities of each of ashram has. Did that answer your question? Yes. Yeah. Srila Prabhupada said there's only one work, serving Krishna. There's only one scripture, Bhagavad Gita. There's only one worshipable Lord, Krishna. You know. So it's very easy. You know. Anyone else? Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Amazing lecture. I have a question. How would anyone practice detachment? What are the steps one should take in the beginning?
First, you need to recognize certain things. You cannot give up smoking if you don't know that it's bad for your health, isn't it? If you think smoking is cool, you're not going to give it up. But if you see the horrible effects of it, then you can slowly give it up. But Srila Prabhupada, actually in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says you need to experience a higher taste. And then you can give that up. We cannot give something away unless we're ready to accept something better, isn't it? Just like a person with a car. You know, they love their car. But if it's causing them problems, they're looking for another car. And once they get the finances, they get the car, and then they give this old car up easily, you know. But each and every one of us, we have the capacity, the intelligence, the willpower, but it's just a matter of actually executing it. Krishna will give us the intelligence. Krishna will give us the power to do it. If you don't mind me asking, what are you thinking of detaching from? Yeah, I don't want to embarrass you if it's too personal. Okay.
No embarrassment. Detachment overall, like for example, we are living in this materialistic life, and we have to go to work. We have to make ends meet, right? But like detachment from, I don't want to feel insulted, even if somebody is insulting me. I
was going on a walk with Ramapati Prabhu. Maybe he'll remember this. And he asked me, how was book distribution? And I had a very tough day, you know. I was saying this and that. And then Ramapati Prabhu reminded me, he said, don't be attached to the results. And when I heard that, I was like, okay. You know, it's very simple. You know, the Bhagavad Gita is so practical. It's not, you know, it's not impossible. And when I always remember this, don't be attached to the results. We just have to perform our duties. But when we have expectations, it can lead to disappointment, you know. So we're not saying, you know, don't be irresponsible, you know, give up your household life working, you know. That's the role that we take in this world, you know. And as a parent, we have to provide for our children. But don't be attached to these things, because it can bind you to this material world, you know. You're welcome. Yeah, so don't be attached to the results of it, you know. If you're working, don't expect to be promoted, you know. Actually, Mukunda Charna Prabhu in the Krishna Lounge, he said there's 3 things one should be satisfied with. Can you repeat those, Mukunda Charna Prabhu?
Number 1 is your wife. Number 2.
It's true, it's saying your wife.
Number 1 is your wife. Number 2 is the money you make by honest endeavor. We can say that. Number 3 is the food that comes your way.
Yeah. So one should be satisfied with these 3 things.
What should you not be satisfied?
Okay, the audience is asking Mukunda Charna Prabhu.
And then Chanakya Pandit says you should never be satisfied with how much you know or you're studying, with how much you've given, how much charity you've given, and your chanting or your praying, how sincere and how serious your prayer, your chanting is.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Mataji. I think you'll be the last because.
And Prabhupada also said the 3 things that you need are a little place to lie down, 6 feet, a little prasadam, and a little service.
Okay. Can you give the mic to Mataji, please? Thank you for that contribution. It's a very sublime thing.
Is it
Yeah, Tom.
and Prabhupada said the 3 things we should be satisfied with is a little 6 feet to lie down, a little service, and a little prasadam.
That's all, you know. Live a simple life. Don't over-endeavor, you know.
Thank you for your nice class.
Thank you, Mataji.
Haribol.
Okay, we'll have some announcements and then we'll have kirtan. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you, Govardhan. Thank you, Govardhan, very much. Hare Krishna.